who's going to start out for this evening. Her name is Lisa Person. She's a real person, and she has played all around the lower Fraser Valley here, and I think she's going to entertain you very nicely. So would you give a nice hand, two if you got them, for Lisa Person.
Thank you. I drove from White Rock tonight on the freeway. It made me think, I had a boyfriend actually. I nicknamed him Highway 1. I was thinking about him on the way out. I call him Highway 1 because, every few minutes there's another turnoff. And he's twice as wide as he was 5 years ago. And I'm going to be spending years paying off his bridge work. But I actually did some other stuff I was in Abbotsford. I was shopping. First of all, I went to Home Depot. I was walking around the aisles just aimlessly, and the fellow working the aisle approached me and said, "Ma'am, can I help you find something?" I was like, "Why, yes, I'm looking for my boyfriend." What's his name? I'll page him. I don't know, I haven't met him yet, right? So he gets all smart ass, and he says, "Well, why don't you try aisle 15 studs?" Well, yeah, that's a good idea. Seeing as I found you here in aisle 5, small tools. But I was doing some shopping. I was in Winners looking for a dress. I couldn't find the right size, so I started heading off to Mission, and then I remembered, Mission has no Winners. Usually Mission jokes go over well. But, excuse me, I think I'm coming down with a bit of a cold. My voice might be a bit raspy, so bear with me. I don't know about you ladies, but every time I get a raspy voice, some guy will approach me and say, "Hey baby, I got something that'll fix your throat." And I always say, "No thanks, that's how I got the infection in the first place." It's a head cold. But I've been doing some comedy in Vancouver, and I'm a little older than a lot of the other comics that I hang out with. I'm in my 50s, and quite honestly, I go do shows, excuse me, some of these hipster bars, and they just look at me, and I can tell that they're thinking, "Whoa, shouldn't that bitch be home scrapbooking right now?" But I'm 57. I've taken quite good care of myself, and I've basically lived a really boring, clean life. So the end result is now, sometimes on a good day, I'll pass for a hard-drinking 43-year-old. I look very innocent. I would like to look tough. I'd like to look badass. Nothing I do will make me look badass. I just look wholesome, right? Like, I could get skulls tattooed all down my arm, and people would just look at me and think, "Ooh, she's got ugly grandkids." I get accused of not dressing my age, wearing stuff that's too tight. My friends tell me, "Lisa, dress your age. Like, you just bought a bunch of used clothing off of my daughter, and she's in grade 12, right?" Well, hey, the pants say senior on the ass. That's dressing my age. But it's tough. It's tough doing comedy. I started 4 years ago now, so I was in my 50s when I started. And the toughest part is that all the shows are at 8 p.m. I miss all my booty calls. I just missed one. Like a man wanted to see me. He texted me half an hour ago. "Are you still up?" Yeah, I'm not missing much there, but that's the choice I make in the evening, right? Do I want to stay home, maybe have a gentleman call, or do I want to come out and perform, tell jokes? Well, so basically, what's the choice tonight, Lisa? Do I want to get laughed at or get laughed Joking or choking? Maybe getting the applause, maybe getting the clap. But yeah, I take comedy very seriously. I was actually in the coffee shop for a few hours preparing just for tonight. And by preparing, I mean getting enough caffeine in me to stay awake this late. And I ordered a latte. The barista drew some nice picture in the foam, you know. But by the time I tipped the cup a few times, it looked exactly like a vagina. So what could I do? I just went back up to the front counter and looked at the biscotti, picked up the longest one I could find, and just dunked that thing repeatedly. Went back for a chocolate one later. What was I going to talk about here? Yeah, lattes. Pumpkin spice lattes. I am the demographic that's supposed to love pumpkin spice lattes. You know, middle-aged, middle-class white woman. I don't like them. I'll tell you why. I like lattes, you know, but I like my lattes the way I like my men, you know. Tall, hot, rich, and yet somehow fat-free. Sometimes vanilla, sometimes not. Throw the pumpkin in there, it messes it all up, because pumpkin is like the man that go after me. Like big and round and lopsided and seedy and frequently called gourd. Pick him up when going through a rough patch. Wait all night for the great one to show, never does. No one ever gets that reference. And people complain about the pumpkin spice lattes, saying, oh, they don't even have real pumpkin in them, you know, it's just flavoring. Well, big surprise there. Like lots of stuff in Starbucks is not what it says on the title. Like, for instance, the barista named Chastity. So I was saying that sex with men my own age, I'm not missing much really by staying out tonight. I don't know. I find sex problematic now that I'm in my late 50s with men my own age. Like, for one thing, the cat hair sticks to the lube. That's the problem. But mainly, I just have a tough time staying aroused with all that talk radio going in the background. You know? Guys trying to call the station while we're doing it. Like, I don't care if you've got a strong opinion about the garbage bylaws, just wait till we're done, right? I got a cat. I was married a long time. As soon as the marriage broke up, right away, I got a cat. And you know, I figured out why a lot of women will get a cat when the man moves out. It's because we miss opening our eyes in the morning and seeing an asshole there. I'm not cutesy. I've got two cats. I'm not cutesy about them, right? Like I don't call them my fur babies. They're not my babies. You know? I got a cat that sees me walk around naked. He jumps in bed with me. He wants me to stroke him all the time. So that's not a baby. That's way more like my uncle. I'm just kidding. I meant to say my boss. But, you know, my cat, I haven't neutered my cat yet. And he wants to go out. So, to keep him from impregnating females, what I did is I got a little set of Crocs made for him to wear. You know, because he's got the white socks already. Girl cats just take one look at him, they go out of heat. I recently read 50 Shades of Grey. I know I'm a little slow getting around to it, but I got through that book so fast, because you can turn the pages quickly when your fingers are wet. I read the sequel on a Kindle. It was way slower. Doesn't work though. It's fun to fantasize about kinky stuff and being tied up. Doesn't work. Not with a lady my age. Like, for instance, like, you get a 50-something woman, push her down on the bed, you know, starts off good. You go get the rope to tie her up, bringing the rope across the bedroom, it's dragging on the floor. Suddenly 5 cats come out of nowhere, they want to play with the rope. Just wrecks the mood. But I know I'm going to be getting some dates pretty soon, because I opened the packet of coupons that came in the mail, and I see there's a 2-for-1 for the House of Pancakes in there. So I know a gentleman will be asking me out for dinner this month. But I'm holding out. I want to, you know, I do get some male attention mainly from older guys, right? Like, I was out the other night. Here's a really nice thing that happened. I actually got asked for my ID. Made me feel so young, because they usually just hand me the seniors breakfast. But anyways, I was out with some friends the other day, and a man started sending drinks over to my table, but he had already rolled up the rim. Like, okay, dude, you didn't get lucky one way, now you're trying to get lucky another way. You know, men used to send me over doubles, now they send me over doubles. But I'm holding out for a real catch. Like a man that will take me out for a dinner and pay for it like 2 days before the last Wednesday of the month. That's what I want. My girlfriend asked me if I'd ever stalked anyone. I said, no, I would never stalk anyone. And she said, oh no, you just haven't met the right one yet. But you know, I wouldn't. Why would I stalk a guy that I'm dating? I mean, he's just going to move his trailer, right? And I'm not worried about men stalking me either. I mean, they're not going to remember where I live, you know? How can you stalk someone when you're in bed before it gets dark? I honestly, if a guy I'm dating stalks me, you know, that would mean that he's able to climb a gutter, like to squeeze through a hedge, you know, to recognize me from a distance. Like that puts him to the top of the heap, basically. It's like, go to the front of the line, sneaky boy. I did have a guy, he got my name tattooed on his arm. It was very romantic. 2 little words right above it. Emergency contact. Yeah. If an older guy gets a flaming skull tattooed on his arm, it doesn't mean he's a tough guy. It's just like, it's to indicate that he wants to be cremated. I was going through a bunch of old stuff, cleaning out my garage. Found my first Barbie dolls that I ever owned. My God, those were my favorite toys. Just think about it, all they are, just plastic bodies with no genitals, right? Today my favorite toys are plastic genitals with no bodies. Speaking of which, I actually found my very first vibrator when I was going through that stuff. Of course, you know, it's so old it was a wind-up model. It's made out of tin. Had a little built-in music box, you know, all the paint was worn off of it. Selling it on eBay. Dinky toys are collectible, I hear. Of course, they got fancy sex toys now. Got the vibrator for ladies, it's called the Rabbit, because it's got these little rabbit ears on it, and oh. I got so many of them, I call my nightstand the Hutch. Like, honestly, I thought the Energizer Bunny could pound the skins. Actually, I only bought 2, I just put them in a drawer together. Now I've got a dozen. I went out with a really old guy, like really elderly gentleman. Thought I'd try that out, and I remember we were in the bedroom, And he was just saying, my dear, you know, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, I just can't perform for you. And I said, that's okay, that's okay. All I really want is your company. Like, I mean it, sign over your company. And I'll untie you from the bed. Perhaps. Some guys my age are clueless. They're trying to do the modern dating stuff. Like this one older gentleman wanted to send me a dick pic. He wrapped up a framed photo and mailed it to me. 8x2 glossy, I guess you'd call that. Penorama. Then of course he said, it's like, oh, I showed you mine, I want, you know, he wants me to send him a crotch photo back, right? So I did. He wasn't very happy. Apparently he wanted it taken from the outside. Although he did say that the cave paintings were interesting. I said, well, that's not a bad idea, actually. It took me 2 hours to get my phone out of there. Of course, I had it on vibrate, and his telemarketers were calling, so it wasn't too bad. Shopping. I tried shopping in White Rock, but they don't have young ladies' clothing there. They've got, like, middle-aged, older lady boutiques there, and I don't know where they come up with this, but they got some kind of formula where, like, the more years you got on you, the more sparkly things must be put onto your garments. Like I went to this one place, I bought the least gaudy dress I could find, and it still had a sequin skirt and like a glitter kitten on the front that said touch of class in crystals on it. And the first time I wore that thing outside, I had a bad experience. I got attacked by ravens. I was married. Excuse me. Yeah, like I said, I was married for a long time. We had some disagreements, like on the topic of shopping. I bought this coat at Ricky's one time. I put it on the visa. I didn't tell my husband about it. And then a few weeks later, the bill comes in the mail, and he just flips right out and immediately gives up drinking and goes on a diet because he couldn't remember spending $200 at Ricky's Pancake House. I have tried online dating, and there's a few things that bug me about it. One thing is the photos. The men put these photos on their profile. This one in particular, everyone has, and I'm not talking about the one where they're holding a big fish that they caught. I'm talking about the one where it's taken with the ex-wife beside them, and they've cropped her out of the photo. Oh, I hate that. Like, guys, just leave her in. I gotta see if she's wearing nice jewelry. Part of my research, right? My girlfriends warn me. They say that men are out to rip me off online, you know. They're gonna try and get money out of me. That is actually true. 2 of my dates have asked me for a bus fare to get home from the Starbucks. I get warned about guys putting stuff in my drink. You know, I don't. Who's gonna do that? I mean, come on. Why would a guy put a roofie in a girl's drink and have his way with her lifeless body for one evening? You can just marry her and do it for decades, right? Slip an engagement ring into that drink. But anyways, the men always want to meet me at Starbucks for the first date. And I don't like that because there's young, good-looking girls in every Starbucks. I do not need them making me look bad. So I just say meet me in Tim Hortons. The one that's inside the Walmart. In Mission. My last date didn't want to meet me there. He was afraid some of his coworkers might see him. But I did have 2 dates last week, and they were very different from one another. The first guy, I was quite surprised to see him drive up in this big minivan. It had a baby seat in it, so I was like, oh, he has a little one. And then a couple of days later, I had a date with a different guy, and he comes driving up in this brand new Ferrari. So I was like, oh, he has a little one. I'm hoping, I've got a bucket list here, and I'm hoping to date a cop at least once in my life. The main reason being, I want to have sex with them, and about halfway through, just kind of like push them off me and say, "Do you know why I stopped you?" Sir, do you have any idea how fast you were going? You were entering the wrong lane, sir. I like younger guys. I've tried dating younger guys, and quite honestly, some of them are after a woman my age. Like this one guy in his 20s, he was obviously trying to get a cougar, right? Like I could tell because he'd got all his tattoos done in large print readable typeface. You know, and he didn't get the metal lyrics on the chest, he got Rod Stewart lyrics. And some gardening tips, you know, some recipes down here, adult coloring book all across his back. How's my time?
Okay. You good?
Okay. Problem is there's a communication gap between older men and younger men. There's, like older men use innuendo a lot. Young guys, I never know, right? Like if an older guy will say to me some pickup line like, "Hey baby, I'm not your knight in shining armor, but you should see my sword," right? And I know exactly what he is referring to. Younger man says that same thing. 50% chance he will actually have a sword hanging on his wall. In his bedroom. And that'll be the only protection he has in there. Like Tyler, don't you have some Trojan shields? It's like, well, yeah, they're over here on the feature wall in the hallway. I went to Wreck Beach, thought I might meet a boyfriend there. Saw a lot of penises. Wasn't really one that stood out to me, though. I'm a graphic designer by trade. I had a lady earlier this week asking me what I would charge to design a logo for her, and I said, "Well, ma'am, I can't really say until I know more details." And she was just, "Oh, just give me a figure, you know, just tell me roughly." Like, okay. "Well, I can't say, bitch, until I know more fucking details." Is that rough enough? Yeah, I work for myself. I'm freelance. You know, and what makes me sad is when they have bike to work week, I can't bike to work because I work from home. And none of the boys I wake up with in the morning will lend me his bike to go home. They're all like, "I need it for my paper route." And I try to get a job. I want to get a job at one of those fancy design houses downtown, those hipster places, but they won't hire me. The CEOs are all like 28 years old, and they do not want a lady my age working there because it's like having their mom come around and wreck their fun, right? But I found a loophole, right? Those 20-something CEOs are not looking to hire a lady my age on Craigslist, but some of them are looking to have sex with a lady my age on Tinder. So I got my resume tattooed on my back. No, okay. I've got no second dates, but I've got like 10-second interviews. And they're so cute, you know. Those young 28-year-old successful guys, they're so cute. They've got big boy apartments. You know, they've got those inspirational posters up on the walls, Anthony Robbins, you know, they still believe in him, even though they don't believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus anymore. It's so cute. But, what was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. So I had I was shopping earlier, like I was saying before, and there's a cut of jeans. Like, you know, you got the different styles of jeans. You got the slim and the skinny jeans and the boot cuts, and then you got boyfriend jeans. Any of you ladies seen these things in the stores? It's basically a cut that's kind of loose and rolled up and it looks like you borrowed it from a guy. Like, I don't get the point of that. Because if you got a boyfriend, you don't need to buy these. And if you don't have a boyfriend, you're just going to look at them and cry, right? If you don't have a boyfriend, you might already be wearing loose, ill-fitting jeans. But anyways, so I bought a pair of these boyfriend jeans, and I felt like a total fraud. So I thought, I gotta make these more authentic. Sprayed Axe all over them. Dribbled a little stain at one side of the crotch seam. Put a gum wrapper in the pocket with a phone number of a guy who sells rims in Langley. I think I made them too authentic. Because I went out with my girlfriends, they thought I'd actually borrowed them off a guy that I slept with. So they're all like, "Ooh, who's the boy, Lisa? What's his name? What's his name?" It's like, oh no, what do I say? Okay, my boyfriend's name is Eddie Bauer. And no, you can't meet him. He's joined the Old Navy. He's going down to the Banana Republic. He's way nicer than my last boyfriend, Joe Fresh, that worked at the garage. So I'm trying to. My doctor, I think my doctor was asking me on a date, you know? He says he wanted me to come by and have a drink with him. He says, "Lisa, stop by for a Pabst beer." Disappointment, it was just like any other date. My pants were off in 5 minutes. He was done in 30 seconds and then he's pushing me out the door, telling me to go get tested. My doctor told me to do Kegel exercises. Anyone know what those are? Those clenchy things? Yeah, clenches for wenches. So they're pretty boring. I found a way to make them fun. I bought the biggest rubber dog bone I could find, put it halfway in, called the dog for a tug of war. Yeah, next time I'm going to shut the screen door so I don't get dragged around the neighbor's lawn. A lot of ladies have a favorite sex position. You know, some people like doggy style. I personally like kitty style. You know, kitty style. Like when you get banged in the alley by a couple of gingers and a Persian. I think I've talked about all I'm going to talk about, except I'm just going to tell you my favorite way to meet younger guys. And it's a bit sneaky. What I do is I dress really young, and I go to a nightclub late when everyone's drunk and it's dark. Convince the guy that I'm about 30, go home with him. So here's a warning, any 30-somethings in here? Looks like there might be a few. Any younger men, just watch out. The lady you pick up at the club might be 25 years older than you think. And don't worry, you're still going to have a fun night together. Except the next morning, you're going to wake up and be really surprised when you look across the bed and you see your clothes neatly folded. And a bag lunch and a scrapbook of the night before. Thanks, guys. Lisa Person.